What is up? It's your boy Johnny Shreve, aka Mr. Tell Like It Is. Guys, we've been wrong about time under tension this entire time. Well, according to Wolf Coaching's last video, outdated 4 workout ideas science just debunked. And I watched it, saw it, and I'm like, wait a minute. So I need a little bit of your help to make sure that I'm not just hearing or seeing things, because I just might think that they might be wrong again. Let's get into it.
These workout ideas are outdated. Focusing on them is, at best, making your program more complicated than it needs to be. At worst, it's actually reducing how much muscle you're growing. Stick around until the end of the video, where I'll give you the consensus of the research on these topics.
Bold claims. Let's go. Let's go.
First, the concept of time under tension. This is a bodybuilder classic. Instead of focusing on the number of reps, focusing on time under tension is supposed to boost your muscle growth. Bodybuilders and influencers alike have advocated for it for decades.
Okay, so let's just break down time under tension really quick, okay? So time under tension is basically the notion that the duration of the entire set matters in terms of like building muscle. So basically, I've even made the point, I've even made the point that it's not necessarily the amount of reps, but more so the duration of the set, right? The duration of the set is going to eventually bring you to failure, right? That's basically what it is. Time under tension eventually will bring you to failure. Regardless of how long or short it is, that's what's needed. Training to failure is gonna happen one way or another if you try it, right? So I'm gonna hit failure by either lifting something extremely heavy. If I pick up something that's 90% of my 1 rep max, I'm gonna be able to lift it twice maybe. And that will bring me to failure because I won't be able to lift that heavy load. Now, if it's not that heavy and I need to train to failure, it's gonna take me repetitions to get there. And regardless of how many repetitions it is, it's gonna take time to get there.
We know that. If you want your muscles to grow, if you want to stimulate muscle protein synthesis, you need to elicit tension in those working muscles.
And there is some truth to it. If you disregard time under tension, or how long your set takes, entirely, you could arrive at the conclusion that a set of 1 rep is a great way to build muscle. However, that's about where the good sides of the focus on time under tension end. Let's break down the concept of time under tension. It can easily be defined as number of repetitions times repetition duration. It's essentially the equivalent of set duration. Fortunately for us, over the last decade or so, science has examined both the effectiveness of a number of reps and repetition tempo.
This is where evidence-based research, yada, 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 becomes kind of like redundant in a sense, okay? They're giving you a range of between 5 to 50 reps. How many of you guys do 50 reps? Just asking, right? How many people do 50 reps? I've been coaching for 20 years. No research done, just literally anecdotal experience with people, a lot of people. You would almost say that I'm doing research with actual people in person and seeing the results of what's actually done. I've never done a rep range between 5 to 50 reps. That's one heck of a range.
Muscle, provided you take that set close to failure. Hitting failure appears to be the more important part, versus purely maximizing time under tension. Likewise, the most recent review paper on repetition tempo found that although a slightly more controlled eccentric or lowering phase and a slightly more explosive concentric or lifting phase may optimize hypertrophy based on some preliminary evidence, most evidence suggests that a wide variety of repetition tempos appear equally effective for building muscle. In fact, they recommend a set duration, or time under tension per set, of 20 to 70 seconds for hypertrophy.
What? Okay, first they just said that time under tension is outdated and not necessary. Anything from a rep range between 5 to 50 is good. As long as you get to failure, that's all that matters. But also that having a slightly controlled negative with a slightly controlled concentric will actually aid to more muscle hypertrophy. And then moving on to saying that hypertrophy training, the optimal time under tension for a set should be anything between 20 to 70 seconds. My brain hurts. Isn't that time under tension? If you have a set duration of 20 to 70 seconds, okay, so how do we translate that into reps? Okay, cool. So let's say you can do between 5 to 50 reps But the best duration is gonna be between 20 to 70 seconds. Back in the day, it was actually like 30 to 50 seconds. I've been saying that all along forever. 20 to 70 seconds would be time under tension. Do you understand that? How do you say that time under tension is outdated, but then say that in the study done by Schoenfeld, the entire group of friends, they're all boys, and Schoenfeld, Nipper, they're all boys. The entire RP group, they're all friends. It's great. Awesome stuff they're doing in the industry, really working on evidence-based, yada, yada, yada. The problem is that evidence-based, a lot of things are like hands-off. There is no like actual interaction with people. I mean, like when you do studies there is, but like when it comes to like, doing the study with somebody over time, like I've had clients for like, 3-4+ years, right? And seen the anecdotal evidence from somebody training with time and attention. For hypertrophy, we'll read actually before this. It says tempo, which translates approximately to 2 to 5 seconds of time and attention for one repetition. Therefore, according to the collective consensus, the optimal time and attention for strength gains should be between 2 and 20 seconds per set. So we go back to where he basically, breaks it down for us, because we ain't evidence-based, we don't know much. We go back to what he says here. He says,
on the concept of time under tension, it can easily be defined as number of repetitions times repetition duration. It's essentially the equivalent of set duration.
All right, set duration. Fortunately, blah, 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 blah. And we go back up to the set duration. And the set duration is 20 to 70 seconds. Let's do some easy math here. I got my phone on me. Remember, he said anything between 5 and 50 reps, you should be able to get there anyway, right? Well, let's just actually go to where he says that.
20 to 70 seconds for hypertrophy. I guarantee that if you're doing anywhere between 5 to 50 reps, unless you're going incredibly fast, you'll fall within this range. There is no need to focus on time under tension.
Okay, so he said anything. Let's just go back again. I want to go back again, okay?
There is no need to focus on time under tension and slow things down a touch. Fast, you'll fall within this range. Guarantee that if you're doing anywhere between 5 to 50 reps, unless you're going incredibly fast, you'll fall within this.
Let's just take 5 reps. Okay, he said, and if you're doing anything between 5 and 50 reps, you should be able to fall within that 20 to 70 second duration, which is time or attention range. Okay, five, he said at least 5 seconds. 5, unless you're going incredibly fast, 5 seconds should bring you to at least 20 seconds, right? And 50 reps would bring you to at least 70 seconds, right? If I did 50 reps and a second each, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and maintain that I only get to 50 seconds. How many people are doing 70-second sets? None of you guys are. I'm gonna answer a few guys. None of you guys are doing 70-second sets. I can promise you that. Let's go back to the 5 second. I'm gonna just push-ups. Just push-ups, all right? Push-ups, here we go. Let's do it. Let's time my push-ups. And we're gonna clock off right now. I'm gonna do 5 reps. Let's go, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just do 6. 6 reps. I just did 6 reps. 6 or 7 reps. I said 6 or 7 reps. And those reps were not fast. Do you think they're fast? They weren't fast. Those are controlled. It was only 10 seconds. And am I anywhere near close to failure? No. But there's like so much more to this that they're missing. And that's what I have a little bit of issues when it comes to like evidence-based stuff, right? Because it's like, it's contradictory. They literally just told us at the beginning of this video that time and attention is outdated. It's not necessarily the set duration that matters, but making sure you get to failure. Okay, so let's get to failure. But having said that, then go on to say that the optimal duration for hypertrophy is 20 to 70 seconds, which is the duration. That's time under tension. What do you mean? That is time under tension. You know, time under tension is basically the amount of sets, how long it takes you to do the entire set. The set, the reps times how long the rep takes, right? So if I do 20 seconds, if I need to get 20 seconds for the minimal rep range of 5 seconds, that would mean that my rep speed should be 4 seconds for every rep to make 20 seconds, which would be time under tension. Now, if I did that instead of the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if I was like, hey, 2 seconds down, 1 second pause, 1 second up. So if I was 1,001, 1,002, pause, up. Those 5 reps would be that much harder, but also would reach that 20 minimum second duration. In this research study by Brad Schoenfeld, I would reach the duration. How is it that time under tension is outdated, but it tells us that 70 seconds is the optimal time under tension for a muscle hypertrophy? You're telling me that's confusing? You're telling me that having time under tension is confusing? That's confusing. You just told me time under tension isn't necessary anymore, but to tell me that I need time under tension still. And it's like, oh, you need to come to failure, right? As long as we just get to failure. Okay, how do we get to failure? Please tell me how do you get to failure? Okay, a couple ways we get to failure. One, we put a heavy ass weight on there for you to lift. Doesn't matter what you're lifting, I don't care what exercise it is. We're gonna put on we're gonna put on like 95% of your 1 rep max. You're gonna rep that thing out twice. And you're gonna come to failure because it's that heavy. How do we come to failure after that? Well, it's gonna be time under tension, right? Because there's going to be a place that you're going to get to that's going to create you to fail during your set. And if it's not because of the load being excessively heavy, it's going to be the amount of time you're under tension that you have the lactic acid buildup that's enough that you can no longer rep something out. Does that make sense? Am I crazy? If I'm wrong, or I'm getting this completely mixed up, then somebody tell me. I'll take full accountability and be like, yo, man, I totally just misread or miswatched what you said, and I'm completely wrong, but I'm right. And I'm repeating myself in this video that I'm only really responding to the first 3 minutes of this video. You can't tell someone out there, especially when it comes to like these science-based, evidence-based, yada, yada. I found a research paper that said time and attention is useless. It's super like kind of careless and dangerous when you have like these guys who are like science-based and they're putting out research papers, and here you go, I've done this research that says that time and attention is absolutely useless. Time and attention really doesn't matter. What really matters is that you get to failure. But also, really want to optimize your training, that your set duration should be around 20 to 70 seconds, which is time and attention. So guess what? Time and attention does matter, because if I want to get to the minimum rep range, or the minimum set duration, which is 20 seconds, and the minimum rep range is 5 reps, then my rep speed should be 4 seconds per every rep to get to 20 seconds of the lower end of the set duration. I gotta say, I don't agree. And unless someone comes behind me and be like, hey man, I told you, break it down, maybe just break it down for me even more. Break it down for me in a way where we can all just understand, because if you're seeing what I saw, he just said time and attention is outdated and it only matters that you reach failure. What? That's what we just saw. That's what we just saw. And if you agree with me and if you see what I see, then you're agreeing with me. That guess what? Time and attention is definitely not outdated. Even Brad Schoenfeld says,
I guarantee that if you're doing anywhere between a set duration or time under tension per set of 20 to 70 seconds for hypertrophy, I guarantee that if you're doing anywhere between 5 to 50 reps, unless you're going incredibly fast, you'll fall within this range. There is no need to focus on time under tension and slow things down a ton.
There's no need to focus on time and attention, yet the optimal set duration is 20 to 70 seconds. I think there's an absolute place for evidence-based research and bro science, because what bro science does, it brings you that anecdotal experience of in-person experience. Whether you're a coach, trainer, whatever, with clients and you're seeing results from real life experience, or you're researching and doing case studies on groups for a couple months, meeting in the middle is the best approach than saying one debunks the other and vice versa. When it comes down to it, guys, time and attention is still quite important. Even Brad said it. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. So next time, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.